Good morning. How are you today? I am fabulous. With my cup of Joe. Have a cup of Joe. Man, oh man, I hope you had a good day yesterday. Monday. It's kind of hard to have a good day on Monday. But I hope you have a great one today. Getting ready to have a great week, the rest of the week. So anyway, I'm going to use something that happened with me as to spark some sort of conversation with people that are going to listen to this. Because most of the people that I know of that have responded or talked to me, thank you, by the way. Same age group, right? Mid-50s, late 50s, early 50s, all kinds of 50s. And, we're facing similar challenges, I think. And, I'm wondering if my experiences are different than yours. How did you deal with a couple of things? So I did get a job offer yesterday, an official one, and I took it. It's going to probably require a couple of big changes. But we'll see. However, you can't pretend that these changes won't happen. You have to acknowledge them. So I want to ask you all about this stuff if you've ever faced any of this. The first one is, it's so weird. I mean, I had resigned from my previous job a few months ago. And then, after a conversation with the vice president, went back. And, and I didn't regret it at all. I didn't regret it at all. But within 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks later, they let some IT people go. I was one of them. They just added downsizing. So I almost took that as, this was supposed to happen. You really needed to get out of this job. And I did. I really did need to get out of it. There was a lot going on that I just couldn't deal with anymore. But here I am again, jumping back into an IT gig. And I got to be honest with you. At 56 now, after everything that's gone down, my priorities have changed a lot. They really have. Have yours? I mean, is that just an age thing, or is that because of the COVID and the political insanity and everybody calling each other names just because who you voted for and stuff that we've never seen before, and losing friends over this stuff, and which is, to me, is like, look, if you don't want to talk to me anymore because I don't like your candidate or whatever, have a good life. What, are you kidding? I still think it's insanity, but whatever. So you're sitting here saying, in at this stage in life, with everything that's happened, making this type of change, it's different now because the priorities seem to be more about finding some peace and finding some contentment in life. Because I think maybe before this, we just put our heads down and just did our jobs, Man, it seems like a lot of people don't feel that way anymore. It seems like people are saying, this job thing, fine, but... And part of this has to do with people who get to stay home. Now, once again, please, I'm saying this. I'm not saying you're wrong. Far from it. I would never judge anybody on the choices they make in their life as far as employment or, what they do. That's not my place. I'm not going to do that to anybody. But because, there's a ton of jobs out there, and we're still seeing a pretty high level. Now, in Indiana, not anymore. Indiana, September, that's it. You got to go back to work. Unless you can live off of unemployment, which with $390 a week. If you can live off of that, good for you. But you're not getting any more money for the COVID stuff, and but it's time. It's time to get back to work in a lot of these places. There's ways to do it. The infrastructure's been set up, and if you're working publicly, if you're working in stores or stuff like that, there's ways you can mitigate against the whole COVID thing, and without getting into any of that. Please, I'm not talking about any of that today. I'm tired of talking about that. There's ways to do this. So, but the whole concept of just putting your head down and trudging through an employment deal seems to have changed a lot. And it certainly has for me. So I don't know what job would have made me say, okay, I'm not worried about that. I think it's the same for everything, I don't know. The big change, one of the big changes, is that it may require a move. I took this job with remote until end of COVID. Okay, now there is no end to COVID. I mean, everything that I'm reading from people I trust, the variants and so on and so forth, and and plus people have been, or take, there's the proper precautions, which I am an advocate of the vaccine. So I've said that every single time. I believe people, specifically people in the groups that are more at risk, should get it. I really think you should. I'm not going to judge if you don't. I've gotten mine. I make sure I stay away from people. I've got a better chance. I don't want to get that. I don't want it. I don't want this virus. It's a real thing. But it would require a move, and it may require a move to Connecticut. Well, I'm not really sure I ever wanted to move. If I wanted to live in Connecticut, I would have lived in Connecticut. Plus I have I have a couple things here that I really have stayed attached to. Certainly the soccer community, but even that, gotta be honest with you, if people maybe listen to this and use this against me, maybe, I don't know, man, it's not the same anymore. It just isn't. It's changed, and I don't mind telling people, and I don't mind saying it to people. It's just not the same as it used to be. They're drawing well, and I love going to the games, and I love playing drums at games, and but there's been, it's a bit more fractured than it was, but that's the same in every community. Any social community that I know of that has a mixed group of people politically or whatever, social, that have different social views, there have been fractures, and that's just the way it goes. But I just don't have the same attachment to it anymore. I just don't. I mean, I still love the games, like I said. But as far as the community itself, it's not the same for me anymore. It's kind of sad. So, have you had that experience where there's a social group that you've been a part of that's just not the same anymore? I have a lot of friends that are in drum corps, right? And let's be honest, especially back in the day, it was a much different world. Singing songs on the bus and things that went on that bus, God forbid if you even think things like that today. The Twitter monsters will come out and that group of douchebags. It's a whole different world, man. It really is. So I'm asking that too. I'm asking for social perspective. Those groups of people, the drum corps community, the whatever community is, people have made choices to stay in those groups. Now, would you make the same choice? Playing in rock bands, another bunch of guys that I know. There's gigs, I guess, out there, but is it the same? Is it, do you see, does it feel the same? It doesn't feel the same to me anymore. And lastly, what kind of chances can you take at 56? I really, I've tried to set up a side business, with playing again, and it's not going well. I'm just being honest with you. I mean, just can't find gigs. And it's not because I'm not competent. Now, I'm a fat old man, and the visual part of it is part of it, so that probably has something to do with it. Which is something that's on me. I mean, I'm not going to complain about it. If your criteria is, look, we just don't want somebody so old and fat playing here, I'm not going to blame anybody for that. They have every right to do that. I've always had that thing. People, all my life, you don't look like a singer. What the hell is a singer supposed to look like? But anyway, I guess that would be the last thing I wanted to ask about this. Is making changes this stage in our lives. It seems it's daunting. And I used to be such a free spirit when it comes to this stuff. Probably too free. I admit that. But it also had a lot of positive results as well. And just the feeling of being free. Because, man, I don't know if we're as free anymore. It just doesn't feel like it. Just doesn't feel like, without picking sides or saying one side's right or one side's wrong, it just doesn't feel that way anymore. But anyway, those are the three questions I wanted to ask. And if you're facing these types of things yourself, but man, hopefully we can get through it together. And I'm thankful. God, I'm so thankful. Lord, I am so thankful. I really am. That this door opens up, or the doors do open up. I'm just trying to be obedient. I'm just trying to find that right path. And people say you should make your own path. Well, you can. I have. Sometimes, though, it seems like when you put your head down, you don't see where you're going. Be careful. Anyway, some ramblings about life and choices and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. I hope that whatever's going on in your life is amazing and wonderful, and I hope that you're happy. And if there's anything I can do to help make you happier, I better be careful how I ask that. Seriously, man, I hope you're doing well. I love you. I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful day today. Take care.